You're standing in the beer store, reaching for that familiar label, the one you've been grabbing every weekend for years. Maybe it's the one your dad drank. Maybe it's the Canadian classic everyone talks about. But here's what nobody's telling you. Some of Canada's most beloved beer brands are putting things in your glass that have absolutely nothing to do with making great beer. I'm talking about ingredients banned in other countries. I'm talking about chemicals linked to health issues that companies know about but keep using anyway. And I'm talking about marketing so brilliant, you've been convinced you're drinking pure Canadian tradition when you're actually consuming a laboratory experiment. Before you crack open another one, you need to know this. 8 major brands sold in every province are hiding things that would make you put that bottle down immediately. And the worst part? You're paying premium prices for this. Let's get into this right now. I know what you're thinking. Come on, beer's been around forever. How bad could it really be? Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was buying these brands every single week until I started digging into what's actually in them. And listen, if even one of these shocks you the way it shocked me, hit that like button, because we're about to expose something the beer industry really doesn't want you talking about. We're in this together. Brand number 1, Labatt Blue. Labatt Blue, the unofficial beer of Canada, right? Hockey games, cottage weekends, backyard barbecues. Here's the thing, Labatt Blue contains high fructose corn syrup and propylene glycol alginate, a stabilizer also used in antifreeze formulations. They use it to maintain foam, but European brewers have largely abandoned it. Labatt also uses GMO corn derivatives, which means pesticide residues can end up in your glass. You know that feeling when you drink 3 Labatt Blues and wake up with a headache that feels different from a regular hangover? That's not just alcohol. That's your liver working overtime to process additives that have no business being in beer. And you're paying $52 for a case of this. Brand number 2, Molson Canadian. Molson Canadian, I am Canadian, remember? But get this, Molson uses caramel coloring E150D, a type that produces 4-methyl-imidazole, a compound California requires warning labels for due to cancer concerns. They also use isinglass for clarification, that's dried fish bladder in your pure Canadian beer. And they're using GMO grains treated with glyphosate, linked to gut microbiome disruption. You know that bloated feeling after a few Molsons? That's not you. That's the product doing what it was designed to do. Prioritize shelf life over your health. This is the company that sold you Canadian identity while adding ingredients that wouldn't pass in Germany. Brand number 3, Budweiser, Canadian production. The Canadian Budweiser uses rice adjuncts because rice is cheaper than barley. They're using tartaric acid and potassium metabisulfite, a sulfite that can trigger allergic reactions and asthma attacks. They also use dimethyl dicarbonate as a sterilizer, which breaks down into methanol in your beer. European breweries avoid this entirely. You know that sharp, almost chemical taste at the back of your throat, that metallic finish? That's not crisp refreshment, that's preservatives and processing shortcuts. AB InBev is worth billions, and they're cutting corners like this. Brand number 4, Coors Light. The cold activated can. Such clever marketing, you forgot to ask what you're drinking. Coors Light uses polyvinyl polypyrrolidone, a plastic polymer, to clarify the beer. Let me say that again. A plastic-derived compound is filtered through your beer. They also use hop extracts instead of actual hops, so you're missing the natural compounds that have health benefits. You know that watery, almost hollow taste? Like beer-flavored water? That's because you basically are drinking that. They've stripped it down so aggressively that what remains is mostly water, alcohol and chemicals to fake the taste. That's not refreshment. That's a science experiment. Brand number 5, Corona Extra. Everyone's beach beer. Lime, sunshine, vacation vibes. But Corona contains propylene glycol as a foam stabilizer. They also use ascorbic acid in amounts that can create benzene when exposed to light, ironic given the clear bottle. The beer contains sulfur dioxide derivatives that cause reactions in sensitive people. And that clear bottle? It causes skunking. UV light reacts with hops to create that distinctive smell. You know that slightly skunky metallic taste you think is just how it tastes? That's degradation. That's broken down compounds marketed as character. And they charge you $55 for a case of damaged beer in a bottle designed to fail. Brand number 6, Molson Canadian, the brand. This beer contains more adjunct grains than malt. You're drinking mostly corn and rice. They use enzymes like amyloglucosidase to create a dry finish, but also more byproducts for your body to process. It contains yellow 5-dye, tartrazine, to maintain color consistency. That dye, linked to hyperactivity and allergic reactions. It's banned in Norway and Austria, but it's in your iconic Canadian beer. You know that sluggish, foggy feeling after drinking these all afternoon? Not drunk, just wrong? That's your body recognizing this isn't really food, and this is marketed as heritage, as Canadian pride. Brand number 7, Keith's IPA. Alexander Keith's supposedly an IPA with historic brewing tradition. Here's the reality. It barely qualifies as an IPA. It contains caramel coloring, uses hop extracts, plus artificial hop flavorings instead of adequate real hops, and they rush it through production with enzymes. The beer has added carbonation beyond natural levels, plus glycerol for mouthfeel, because cheap ingredients need something to fake texture. You know that weird, cloying sweetness underneath the supposed hop bitterness? That artificial flavor lingering wrong? That's because nothing here is what it claims to be. They named it after a guy from 1820. He'd be horrified. Brand number 8, Bud Light. The final boss. The best-selling beer in Canada for years. Bud Light has all the issues we've covered, but they also use aggressive filtration that strips out beneficial compounds like B vitamins and antioxidants. They add tannic acid that can cause digestive upset. The hops extract is processed with hexane, a petroleum-derived solvent. They use such minimal actual hops that you're drinking alcoholic soda water with chemical flavoring. This is the beer advertised during every major sporting event, associated with friendship and good times. And it's fundamentally a chemical cocktail engineered to be cheap to produce, with your health as an afterthought. You know that complete absence of any real flavor, that nothingness? That's intentional. They focus group the personality out of beer until what remains offends nobody and nourishes nobody. And it's the best seller. I know. This is a lot. But listen, you're not powerless here. You're not stuck drinking this just because it's everywhere. There's actually a really simple way to fix this. Steam Whistle Pilsner uses only 4 ingredients: barley, hops, water, and yeast. No additives, no shortcuts. The barley is Canadian, the hops are whole leaf, and it's naturally carbonated. You can actually taste the difference. Clean, crisp, with actual hop character. I've been buying this for 6 months, and that sluggish feeling after drinking? Gone. Available at most LCBOs for around $16 for a 6-pack. Mill Street Organic is certified organic, no GMOs, no pesticide residues, no synthetic additives. They're transparent about their entire process. It's $18 for a 6-pack, but you're drinking actual beer made the way it's been made for centuries. Local craft breweries like Collective Arts, Parallel 49, or Bose are making real beer with real ingredients. Most will happily tell you exactly what's in their beer because they're proud of it. You'll spend the same as premium macro beer, but get something that deserves the price. Here's your framework for choosing better beer. First, pick it up. Second, flip it over and look for an ingredient list. Third, count the ingredients. More than 6 or 7, put it back. Fourth, Google anything you don't recognize. If it sounds like a chemical, it probably is. Fifth, check for certifications. Organic, non-GMO, traditional brewing methods. Sixth, ask yourself, would your great-grandfather recognize these as beer ingredients? Remember, if your grandmother wouldn't recognize it as something that belongs in beer, neither should you. You've got this. Okay, real talk. How many of these 8 were in your fridge right now? Don't lie, I had 5 of them before I figured this out. Drop a number in the comments. Which brand are you boycotting first? Which one betrayed you the most? Was it the Canadian pride marketing? The cold-activated gimmick? Tell me. Send this to someone who needs to see it. Your buddy still buying cases of this stuff? Your family member who thinks beer is beer? They'll thank you later. Hit subscribe because next week we're coming for the energy drink industry. I'll see you in the next one. Canada Food Crisis Report is here for you.